All right, I hope everybody had good holidays. We're back after New Year's. We are January. And since we left off, we cut the floor right out of the car. So we're back before the holidays. I came in, cut all the floor out. And we welded a couple pieces of square tubing in here. I don't think we needed them, but it don't hurt to keep it rigid. Now we are going to replace the rocker panels. You can see they're all pinholed, but they're fairly solid. They're still attached to the car. And the reason I took the floor out this way, when we put our new floor in, I want to make sure everything lines up. And then we'll weld our floor in at the front, around the back. We'll cut the rockers off later and put the new ones on. Now if you look down over there, you can see how the back wall comes down and comes up like a J. Now on this side, that's completely gone. So we're going to come up a few inches into here, and we're going to remake a J for each side. We're going to cut them out, weld new bottoms onto the inner structure. And if you look down here, we're probably going to cut about 8 or 9 inches of those wheel wells out and just make round ones, put them on and weld them. And then once we get our floor in, we'll weld the floor in, and then we can cut off the excess. Now our floor comes right shy of this, so we cut back enough that it wouldn't impede anything or be in our way. So once we get all the little pieces fixed, we're gonna have to put a piece in there of the toe board, piece here. We'll probably just cut this off, make a new chunk of toe board down there. It's simple, so I'll cut that out surgically, as in clean as possible, and then I'll throw it on a bench, replicate a piece, remake it, and weld it in. That way, once our floors are all in, we can put the body down and bolt it to the frame, and that's when we'll cut this floor out and we'll do our custom floor back here. Floor back here is going to be simple. We're not doing the spare tire here. He's going to go with way better wheels and tires, so that hole is obsolete. So we're just going to make ours flat. The only thing we're going to have to watch, you can see how they put a pocket in the floor, and that's the top of your shock. So before we do our floor, we're going to run some sort of brace on one side and plate off, so that those can be bolted and have access from the bottom instead of the top. And if for some reason we can't, we can always put a little door of some sort or an opening. Like I say, I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty sure the way I want to do it, we'll be able to get it from the bottom. But anyway, that's just going to be a nice flat floor. So now that we've taken everything out and cleaned it up, this is where these cars are notorious to rot. And this one's really good all down there. Metal's super thick. And the only rust you're seeing in the corners is from junk sitting on top of it. Underneath, the metal's not even pitted. Lower quarters are decent, wheel arch. And when you get to here, these corners, the other side's not as bad, but we're going to replace it anyway. This is where these cars really go. So we're going to cut that off. We're not even going to order those parts. I'm literally going to hand make those, weld them on. The rest of this car is really solid. And of course, we'll replace the rockers. There's a little bit of rust right in that corner there. We'll fix that. Like I say, a couple minor spots. This can all be sandblasted and primed. So in the car, under the seats, we've got enough of the back seat. We could probably make a set, use them as templates, get rid of the springs and put a modern foam in them. But all the bracketry and hardware could all be painted black and reused. The front seats, you can buy these. They're actually metal and wrapped. They're pretty rotten, but the springs are rotten. There's really nothing left of these seats, so it'll be up to the owner what he wants to do, but we're likely going to junk them. The filler panel that goes above the bumper, and then the grill goes behind it, is pretty beat. We can get these new. We might just buy a new one. I got these fender extensions, which I didn't know I had. This one's got a hard bend in it there, but we'll sandblast it, and as long as it's not weak, we'll straighten it out and use it. That one will be fine. Our fenders are decent, and our inner fenders are usable. Now we do have a set of old fenders we bought with a bunch of other junk for a 56. And the fenders are full of filler, but they do have trim pieces on. So we picked those up along with a set of doors and a perfect rad support. And unfortunately the fenders aren't better than these, but the inner fenders that came with our parts fenders still have black paint on them. So we've got all new inner fenders for this, or like new. Really good shape stuff. To fix these fenders, there's a patch panel you can get that goes up here. They're between $300 and $400 Canadian a piece. So we're gonna have to throw like $800 worth of parts at these fenders to save them. If anybody out there, anywhere in Ontario, Canada, if you got a set of 56 Chevy fenders, let me know. I'd gladly take them off your hands. So that's where we're at. Now this is something you got to watch. So we cut the floor out in sections. So this is the section that goes directly underneath the back seat. So these pillars here, the seat basically folds down and sits on those pillars. So we're going to have to drill all those welds off and knock those off. These don't come with the new floor. The floor that they use is the same one for a sedan versus a wagon versus whatever. So basically the regular car has a regular seat and doesn't use the pillars. So we're gonna have to take these pillars off, clean them up, weld them onto our new floor. And we're gonna have to unbolt those two brackets, and that's part of the emergency brake cable, or the park brake cable system. So we're gonna have to take that off too. So don't just throw this stuff out. And if you do, throw it in a pile where you still can get at it. Later today I'll probably take the Sawzall and just cut that chunk out. And we'll probably cut those off and we'll put them away. The rest of that then could be tossed. So you got to watch for stuff like that when you're replacing stuff. This would be all your inner bracing, and then your inner rockers welded to that. So the new floor we've got has all that, but keep in mind you can buy a lot of sheet metal that won't have that. You got to buy those separate and weld them all on. That's why in this case we went with the full big floor. By the time we realized every single brace needed work, we could have got away with the 4 pans. We also could have left this piece intact, which brings you way down to here, because that piece is solid. But it just made more sense with all the money we were going to spend to just replace the one-piece floor. And if the one-piece floor isn't 100% correct, we don't really care, as long as it fits down on the car and everything's solid, right? We're not going crazy here with something that has to be concourse. We're just making a nice cruisable street rod out of this. Anyway, the other thing we found in the car was a whole bunch of little boxes and bags, and they are marked. There's numbers on some. One says steering something, body and frame, seat bolts. The problem is they sat for 10, 15 years, who knows how long, in plastic bags, which means condensation and rust. So, in my next video, we're going to scatter these all out on a table and cut them open and see what's what. If you're curious, check it out. Thanks for watching. Cheers.